Welcome to Cincy Stripe Stream number 11. Kind of hard to believe that, I'm 11 into this. So, obviously I'd been hoping for, let's see, what was that, week 14? So this could have been like the 15th stream, but, vacations, things like that get in the way. So, you may notice some things are a little different right now, and you wouldn't be wrong. This is something I've been working on, getting there. It has been not easy, not because it's necessarily very hard, but juggling time. Time constraints is the problem. So, yeah, I've got my background up ahead of me. I've got this thing right here covering up a big ugly spot. That's why it's not quite lined up where I want it to be. But it's going to do the job for tonight. So yeah, I got some things I've been holding on to, hanging on to, collecting, putting aside that I wanted to put up behind me. Things that have been very generously given to me by others, and things I've collected on my own. So, anyway, yeah, so welcome to Way of the Dad podcast, doing Cincy Stripe Stream number 11. Glad to have you here. It's been about a week. Well, yeah, I did Thursday last week, so it's been a week. We've had a couple developments since last week when we talked. Of course, we played a game. Of course, the injury discussion is always a thing. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the Browns game, and then we're going to preview the upcoming game against the Bucs. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure you'll enjoy. And, of course, as I am basically, handcuffed to ask at all times, subscribe, like, share, all that. But do subscribe to the channel if you like what you see here. Share the videos out, because it's hard to get out of your own social media bubble, if you will. And yeah, so it's really hard to get out of your own social media bubble, and Twitter page is going well. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the back and forth on Twitter. Some good Bengals fans that I've struck up some conversations with here and there. Still got lots of plans for the channel. Fits and starts, things of that nature. And while it may not be a smooth progression upwards, I'm going to continue to keep doing this. But for the Cincy Stripe streams, like I said, eventually I do plan to split it off on its own channel. And we'll get there at some point. I just got to figure out when that's going to be. And I would very much love to get past Christmas before I start talking about that. Maybe a soft handoff during the playoffs where everything's still here, but it's also mirrored somewhere else. And then eventually that channel, grows its own wings and flies out on its own, kind of, sort of, but not really. So, anyway, let's get down to it. I have my 1991 Cincinnati Bengals Collector's Edition mug. It's appropriate for tonight. Slim Jim co-branding. Gotta love that. Back in the old days when, but that was before Macho Man Randy Savage was telling you very aggressively to snap into a Slim Jim. So, what do we have to drink tonight? All right, tonight, going beer again, or going back to beer. Yeah, I think I drink, I can't remember what I drank last week. Anyway, what we got here is Kentucky Ale Irish Red. This is, comes from Lexington area, Lexington, Kentucky area. It's a Lexington Brewing Company, and it's their version of an Irish Red, and a marriage between two classic beer styles, Irish Red Ale and English Pale Ale styles. But don't let that fool you. It's not very hoppy, because if it was, I won't drink it. I'm not a big fan of hoppy beers. And let's crack this puppy open and see what kind of a head she pours here. Let's go. Let's do that. All right. So we do have that distinctive red color. It's not as red as some I've seen, but it's definitely got a redness to it. Pours a decent head, not super flat, but also not a mile and a half thick. Get your Beavis and Butthead laughing out of the way every time I say the word head. And cheers, Tagay for my family in the Philippines. Very easy to drink. Again, not that I'm some kind of beer sommelier, but I guess it just goes down to I know what I like and I know what I don't. And if it's very hoppy, I don't mind a little hop. A little hop's fine. If anything, a little hop can kind of brighten the beer experience or the flavor or the palate of it. But it doesn't have much of an aftertaste. It doesn't hit hard or leave you kind of like a sour. It's really nice. It's the first time I've actually had it, believe it or not. I've had a lot of Kentucky ale, and so this comes from Lexington Brewing Company. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. Yeah, Lexington Brewing Company, which is in Lexington. It's at the Altamont Distillery, and that is where you will find both a brewery and a distillery. Took a tour there. Gosh, I guess that'd be 5.5 years ago now. Time flies. And you get the tour. They both have the brewery side and the distillery side because they also make Town Branch bourbon. Maybe not the most popular bourbon that you've ever heard of, but you've probably heard of Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. That is what they make, and it's probably one of their most famous ones. You'll, if you ever order one, a lot of times you'll be surprised if you've never had one before. You'll be just surprised at a few things. First, you will not get anything that looks like this as far as a glass. You'll get this foofy little snifter glass. It's kind of almost like a stemmed, not like a wine glass, but it's got like a little hourglass kind of, not quite an hourglass thing, but it's got kind of like a lip out, and then it kind of goes to a, kind of like the main glass area, and then it's on a little stem. You definitely feel like you need to put your pinky finger out to be fancy while you're drinking it. You're wondering, what the hell is this? I ordered a beer. Well, that's how they serve it, so just get over it. But don't worry, you won't need to order two, most likely. That stuff will put you straight on your ass. Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale, if I remember correctly, is somewhere in the 8 to 10% range. And it is delicious. But there's a reason why I haven't drank one on here quite yet. One of these nights I might in a celebratory fashion. But they make a lot of other good stuff. Variations on their Kentucky Ale. They have a vanilla barrel cream ale. The Town Branch bourbon is really good. I like that a lot. And then they also, I guess they also age. They do some aging of some rum that they own, and I cannot remember the brand name of the rum. It's not one I'm familiar with, so I apologize for that. However, this Irish Red is pretty good. Very easy to drink. Maybe a little too easy, but it's very easy drinking. It doesn't punish you at all. And but it definitely has a little more to it than, say, your standard Budweiser, Coors, Miller, Full Test type things. So it's a good beer. I'm pretty happy with it so far. All right, I already got a comment. Yeah, Travis, nice Chris Evans card. That's right. That's right. I figured you might recognize that. Travis is a good friend of mine, and he had some cards, and he wanted to give them to my son, and my son doesn't really collect cards. I kind of showed them to him, and he goes, "Who are those people?" I'm like, "Okay." Son hasn't really quite found the sports thing yet. Maybe he will one day, but of course that'll be up to him. But I thought, you know what? This is going to look really good up in the background. You might look a little harder, Travis. You might notice something else up here too. And so anyway, so yeah, I got some of my Blu-rays. I didn't get a chance to dig into the storage to find the ones I really wanted to find. Kind of had to go with what I had because I'm a little late getting on tonight. And yeah, these were the ones I could get a hold of really quickly. I do like most of them. I don't know if out of my entire Blu-ray collection that all of these would survive the selection process. I am really happy about this. As long as... So, told you I went to Europe and went to the Heineken Heineken brewery. And the nice thing is if you want, you can have a custom made bottle. Way of the Dead. So I was pretty happy about that. I did find Heineken to be a really fun brewery to tour if you ever go to Amsterdam. It is worth the price. It's very fun, very modern. Almost got a club feel to it in certain points of it. Jameson Distillery. I like Jameson. I like Bushmills a little better. Nothing against Jameson. I probably just haven't sampled enough Jameson, but I do like both quite a bit. I hate to say it, I was a little unimpressed with the Jameson Distillery tour. Compared to Heineken, compared to Guinness, compared to some of the bourbon distilleries I've been to here stateside, and even compared to the Teeling whiskey distillery, Irish whiskey distillery in Dublin. Jameson was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but it was very short, very abrupt. 45 minutes tops. And the one thing I say Jameson needs to work on is their branding. They don't brand well. I mean, a lot of their stuff was just shot glasses says Jameson. T-shirt says Jameson. That's it. And so it's a little underwhelming. So, anyway, I'm getting off on a hell of a tangent right now. All right, so, we covered that and that and that. So, what happened on Sunday? In case anybody was paying attention, the Cincinnati Bengals finally beat the Cleveland Browns. The mistake on the lake was sent back home to the factory of sadness with an L. And it's about damn time. Long overdue. Should have happened earlier this year, to be quite frank. Should have happened before this year. But anyway, during the Joe Burrow era. So, it was finally. So yeah, beat them 23-10, and interestingly, the game it started off really ugly. And I say ugly as in the quality of the offense. As the game went on, it became a little more apparent as to why it was not so nice. Apparently, T. Higgins was planning on playing, ready to play, tweaked his hamstring after they had already locked the rosters, so they were unable to deactivate him and activate someone else to take his place. So they were literally a man down. T. Higgins was dressed, and I think if it had gotten to a critical situation, maybe like, say, the final 2-minute drive type thing, and we really needed it, I wonder if they would have ran him out there, possibly. We lost Tyler Boyd, second play of the game. Second offensive play for us, anyway. That's not awesome. So, it was a lot of things that kind of happened really, really fast. Hell, even Mike Hilton went out, although he came back into play. And he's popped up on the injury report now. But, yeah, it was a hell of a game, as it went on. But in the beginning, it left you feeling a little uneven, like, oh boy, please don't do this again. Come on, guys, let's not let's not fall flat on our faces against the Brownies again, and their weird little leprechaun logo thing that they've, I don't know, pulled out of the dustbin of history. Whatever. I guess that's a thing. I don't know. Never heard of it before in my life, but, you know, little fucking elf leprechaun thing in the middle of the damn field. Whatever. Yeah, it didn't start off well, and but thankfully Joe Burrow did what he's been doing, which is to say, to hell with it. I'm still going to beat you with whoever the hell I got with me. And considering that the Browns defense had planned to stop Chase and then didn't have to worry about Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins, they made the curious decision to, I guess, not even, they didn't even triple Chase. They just kept doubling him, which is fine. Chase didn't seem to mind. Burrow didn't seem to mind, because once they got going, shit, that was like the juggernaut out there. Once that got momentum, you weren't stopping it. And it didn't matter what coverage you rolled, didn't matter how you rolled it over him. He found gaps. He found, and sometimes it was a mail slot. That touchdown pass from Burrow to Chase was like, it was such a narrow window to get in there. And hell, Chase looked like he was even surprised. But it was great. It was great. So it ended up being a really good game. But it started off pretty rough. And but then, and Burrow, it looked like Burrow in the very beginning was a little off, at least for him. A couple of the balls that he was throwing, he's throwing some really, really hot throws to Samaje Perine. Not that I'm totally giving Perine a pass for not catching them, but a couple of them came in super hot, almost too hot for a screen pass. And then a couple of them sailed that he was doing. So a couple out to the sideline type passes. It seemed like he was sailing a little bit, and then he settled down. And then, for the Browns, the game ended up being over, whether they realized it or not. It just became that way. Deshaun Watson still looks quite rusty. Looks like he's not seeing the field, and he can't see whether guys are actually open or not, even though on replay it's like, Jesus, there's nobody in the area. And he won't pull the trigger, which I'm perfectly fine with. Keep not seeing the field. What's the oh, do I want to go with this joke? All I can say is I remember growing up, I had a stepdad, and he thought he was very funny, and he would mention about how playing with certain things might make your vision degrade, and I'm wondering if maybe that happened to Deshaun Watson. Just maybe some degraded vision from a seemingly unrelated activity. And sorry, I can't help it. There's too many jokes there. Most of them I don't know if I want to get into. But he's not seeing the field. He's not seeing open receivers, and I'm perfectly fine with it. But that being said, should not be taken away from the Bengals defense. They absolutely shut that shit down. I mean, hard. They were all over Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Jesus, I don't even know if they had, I don't even think they had 60, 70 total yards of rushing between the two of them. And that was just fantastic. Fantastic. That is delicious. Defense did a great job. Again, DJ Reader was an absolute monster on the D-line, giving Hendrickson and Hubbard and BJ Hill the ability to go wreck things. It was great. I mean, just, oh God, it was so good, wasn't it? Burrow, once he settled down, once things settled in, he was absolutely on point, like a laser. Just, I mean, just cracking passes off. Um, that flea flicker to Trent Taylor was beautiful. And apparently they had uh they had planned, I guess it was always on the table, and they decided to go for it because they realized that both Clowney and Garrett were off the field. They were rotated off the field. So it was perfect time to pull off that play because that play does require time. And it requires your defensive ends to not get home. I don't know. YouTube, you're killing me here. You keep saying, oh, it's not receiving this, not receiving that, but I don't know. It looks fine on my end. I don't know. I hope you're not experiencing any video or audio quality issues. If you are, please comment and let me know. I'd like to know because I don't see everything perfectly on my end. So please let me know. YouTube likes to let me know that, but anytime I've ever went back to watch, I never saw anything or noticed anything. So I don't know. Anyway, you know, it was just really, and then Mixon ran pretty hard. It wasn't necessarily a feature of the game. Was the running game was not a feature this time, the way it had been maybe past couple games with Samaje. But Joe Mixon did run good. Once he got, and he was like, it was kind of like the juggernaut thing. Once he got going, he really got going. So it was really great just to watch them beat the Browns. I enjoyed watching Deshaun Watson be out there on an island with no run game to rely on, and he can't see open receivers when they're wide open. And I thought it was hilarious. There was one shot, if you were watching the game, he got hit either a straight up sack or like one of those hits right after the ball goes out of his hand, and he's down there and he's like trying to stretch his leg out, and of course the massage jokes make themselves at that point. Many were made in my living room that day. So yeah, it was really great. I just, oh my God, it was so good. Finally beat the damn Browns. Now that puts us at 2-3 in the division, which is great considering we were 0-3 not too long ago. 2-3 into the division now, keeping pace with the Ravens, who look to be floundering and continuing to flounder. Hell, I think I heard that actually even Tyler Huntley, is that his name? Huntley, whatever his first name is. I think it's Tyler Huntley, the backup for the Ravens. He went out for a little bit. Apparently came back. But the Ravens have been struggling with bad teams. And now they get to play the Browns, who might be looking to get a little bit of revenge. Deshaun Watson is looking for his breakout game, and he has all the permission in the world to go have it this weekend. Go jack him up, please, by all means. Just helps. Somebody's got to step up and snatch off the Ravens. Just snatch one from them. Just snatch a victory from them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things go this week. Obviously, we're still in the potential race, so to speak, for the first overall pick. It does mean that the Bengals have to win out. Is that likely? Well, I'm not an odds maker, but probably not likely. But is it possible? Yes, it's possible. And I don't mean in the barest of chances. I mean, it's possible that the Bengals are as hot, even hotter. I think they're hotter than they were last year. When they kind of clicked into gear and took off towards the playoffs. And they're a better team than they were last year. They're more complete. They have a better running game. They have a better O-line. The passing game is as good or better than it used to be because it does not rely on the one-on-one with Chase or one-on-one with Higgins go ball. Excuse me. Burrow is perfectly happy to sit there and just murder you 12 yards at a time. 8 yards here, 12 yards here, 14, 7. He didn't care. He's gotten patient. and he's not phased. He's not scared back there. And he's got time. I mean, Burrow's looked absolutely phenomenal. Ever since they got themselves into gear. And since about week 5, give or take. So, let's see here. Oh. There we go. Anything else I want to talk about in the Browns? You know, the only thing I will say that I did find, you know, obviously I don't like the injuries. Tyler Boyd has been practicing, so that's good. But he had a dislocated finger, and reports were it was dislocated so badly it dislocated itself through his skin. Ow. Good Lord, that sounds terrible. But he was out there practicing. The only people who haven't practiced was Trey Hendrickson and, gosh, who else did not practice? Oh, Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton didn't practice. Although I think Mike Hilton might still play, but maybe he'll be a little more limited. But Evan McPherson missed an extra point. I don't really know. And Drew Chrisman shanked a punt. That's not ideal. So, but thankfully, none of that really mattered. And unfortunately, the little demon of blocking in the back and holding on punt returns, those penalties reared their ugly heads again. That needs to stop. And I know Darren Simmons is going to be all over it. But it's weird that that's kind of cropped up lately, and I don't know. I haven't paid attention to know whether it was like the same person or not. But overall, really good game. Got some things to work on. I'm sure they are. They seem to do a very good job of that. But we had, let's see here, had a lot of punting in the early part of the game. And I do want to say real quick, I want to call out Samaje Perine's touchdown run. That was one of those ones where even the cameraman was fooled and thought the play was over, and he just like snuck around behind some people and ran on in. It was pretty funny. I was like, oh man, I thought that was done. But yeah, you know, it was yeah, that was about it. That was about the notable things of the Browns game. So we'll move on from that. If you're watching out there and you're also enjoying a beverage of an adult nature, let me know what you're drinking. I'd like to hear. So I'm always a big fan of stuff that's relatively local. Of course, that doesn't mean it's always the best, but I'm willing to try. I like anything that's basically not an IPA. That's about it. Which of course cuts out like 50% of the damn beers of microbreweries because almost all of them seem to make IPAs as part of their portfolio, or some breweries it seems like that's all they make. And I just don't like them. I don't like the super hoppy nature of them. I know some can be very mild and mellow, and that's fine. But it's still not going to be my favorite. I like, quite frankly, my beer, the darker the better. But I don't mind a good golden ale or pilsner or something along those lines. So let me know what you're drinking if you are enjoying something as well. Alrighty, well let's hop into. We're gonna hop into the Bucks game. I'm gonna start talking about that. So, this is gonna be. I mean, this is an interesting game. it's really easy to go into and talk about, you know, some of us here in the Bengals fandom uh, believe that we have the next GOAT. Of course, we want to believe that, and we sure as hell hope that ends up being the case. But Brady is the GOAT. You can dislike him all you want. You can hate him as much as you want, but Brady is the damn GOAT, and there's no discussion. There just isn't. If you divide Brady's career into thirds, he has had 3 Hall of Fame careers. That's just the truth. Now, of course, we're talking about a guy who is, definitely closer to the end of his career than the beginning. He's very close to the end of his career, one way or another. And, a lot of people want to say that Brady's washed up. I don't believe that. Brady still throws a very accurate ball. He still throws with plenty of velocity. The biggest problem for him is 2 things. He hasn't lost his fastball. He hasn't lost his arm. The biggest things for him the biggest thing is his age and how it translates to whether he can survive a 18-plus game or 17-plus game season. And I say plus as in playoffs. That's the thing that Brady needs to worry about. That's the thing that should be his primary focus. Rightfully so. But, the problem for him that I see is, and I haven't watched a lot of Bucs games. I watched a little bit here and there. His O-line is absolutely wretched. It might be as bad as what Burrow had last year. And the thing Burrow has that Brady doesn't, and never really did have, but definitely doesn't now, is escapability and mobility. He just doesn't move like he used to. He's not going to make anybody miss. If he starts scrambling, he's got about 3 to 4 steps before whoever's chasing him is catching up to him. He's not going to make somebody miss for very long. I see a really terrible O-line that they are just running through, literally healthy bodies that they can put out there. That's a big problem. His wide receivers they seem to be dropping balls lately. They're just dropping passes. And it almost seems as if there's something just foundationally wrong with the Buccaneers compared to years previous. So, and here come the Bengals. Bengals are as hot as any team in the NFL could claim to be at the moment. So, pitting these 2 teams against each other, you never, ever, ever, ever assume that you're going to be able to put Brady away until the clock hits 0. If the clock ain't hit 0, Brady is not done. He is not out. Just don't ever assume it. Even if it's true, it doesn't matter. You never let your players or your team think that Brady is done until the damn thing hits 0. Brady is he's made a career out of coming back and, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. And just ask the Atlanta Falcons. They found out, didn't they? But the Buccaneers do seem to be in a bit of disarray. There's something foundationally, fundamentally wrong with that team right now. So I don't know what it is. I can't sit here and speak to it in any extremely good, in-depth fashion. But it's pretty obvious when you watch. Something's not right. The problem with that is a desperate team, a team up against the wall. And here's the fucked up part. They are 100% in the running to win their division. If anything, if I remember correctly, I think they are actually, let's see here. NFC South standings. Yeah. At 6-7, which would be, let's call it a failed year for most teams. They are currently one game above the next two teams in their division, the Panthers and the Falcons. The Saints are at a only slightly more pathetic 4-9, but if somehow the Saints got hot and the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Falcons fell off a bit, the Saints could win the division. No one is eliminated in this division. No one. At 4-9, the Saints are not eliminated. That's crazy. That's almost as bad as that one year that the Seahawks won their division at 7-9, and Drew Brees and the Saints at like 11-5 had to go to Seattle as an away team. And it was ridiculous. And of course, the Seahawks won. Of course, they got hot late in the year, admittedly. But it's just pathetic that a team that, the 4 more victories actually had a positive, win-loss record, had to go into a losing team's home and play them there just because they won their division. So we have the potential for the same thing here in the NFC South. And, 6-7 is hilarious. It's absolutely a joke. But Panthers are on a two-game win streak. So Buccaneers are going to be feeling like their season is on the line. And they're not totally wrong to think that either. So you're talking about a wounded animal packed into a corner, getting desperate. And that's dangerous. A lot of people talk about the potential for a trap game. This has the potential for a trap game, I think, if it wasn't for the fact that Tom Brady is the quarterback. And I think for a lot of teams, that would eliminate the potential for a trap game because you're not going to look past Tom Brady no matter what the score, no matter what the win-loss record of his team is. Also, I don't think it's going to be a trap game because I really... This is going to sound man-crushy, and I don't mean to do that, but it's kind of hard to avoid. Joe Burrow is 26 years old. 26. No kids, not married. Sometimes those things, having kids and getting married, can age you up a little faster, so to speak, and cause you to, get a little more cause you to get a little more maturity a little quicker, and he's just 26 years old. That's crazy. And he keeps kind of, I don't want to say surprising me, but he keeps impressing me. He doesn't care that he's playing Tom Brady. X number of times Super Bowl champion, X number of times Super Bowl appearance, X number of time division winner, X number of time Pro Bowl. Does not care. To him, based on everything he said, and he says it with conviction in a way that makes me want to believe it, makes me believe he's not just saying it, that's just some guy named Tom. Not disrespectfully, but just in his mind, the way he's got it, just happens to be that the opposing quarterback is named Thomas Brady. That's it. Not this like almost grand, heroic thing. He doesn't care. Burrow doesn't care. I'm impressed with that. I'm impressed, really, really impressed with that. I mean, he's not being disrespectful. He, gives props and things like that, but it's just another game against another team, and we got to we got to handle our business. I mean, he just says the right things, and it's really hard to be that young and to be put as the face of a multi-billion-dollar franchise. You're basically the CEO. When things go great, people applaud you. When things go wrong, you're the one that's responsible, even if you had nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. So, it really impresses me, his maturity, his calm under fire, whatever you want to call it. I mean, Joe Burrow is cooler than the other side of the pillow. And it doesn't matter whether he's got, 250 or 60, 70-pound defensive ends coming after him, or if he's sitting on the podium eating a shit sandwich after a terrible loss. He just doesn't, I mean, at least not visually, not outwardly. I'm sure he has his moments privately, but he handles himself correctly, especially when the cameras are on. And that's saying something. I mean, hell, even just this year, Lamar Jackson goes on Twitter and I don't know. I can't remember exactly what he said, but let's just say it was very vulgar, not flattering, something along the lines of "eat a bag of dicks" or something like that to some fan. Come on, that's punching down in a massive way. Grow up, be an adult. Sorry if it's not ideal for you to have to be an adult this young in your life. Suck it up, Buttercup. It makes you wonder, why haven't the Ravens paid him? I think there's some obvious reasons there. Not besides the fact that he plays a style of football that is not dependable long term. I'm sorry, it's just not. It is not dependable long term, that style of play. You just can't up and do that. So, anyway. So let's get down to it. Bengals are going to play them. It's going to be a tough game. I don't doubt that. I got to check. I forgot to check what the line is. Bengals versus Buccaneers. Betting line is Bengals are getting 3.5. Now, let's recap what I said. I said 31-17, or no. Yeah, 31-17. I said a 14-point spread. I was right on the 14-point spread almost perfectly. If Evan McPherson had hit the extra point, it would have been a perfect 14-point spread. It was a 2-touchdown lead. What do I think it's going to be this week? I got my scores on the Browns game wrong. I definitely gave the Browns a little too much credit on the offensive side. Didn't really plan for the Bengals to lose number 2 and number 3 wide receivers. Tampa. I feel like this could be a big game for the Bengals, score-wise. I feel like there's at least a 2-touchdown gap in this game as well. Honestly, let's do the math here. I'm going to say 28-14. Yeah, I'll stick with my 28-14, mostly because I'm feeling a two-touchdown lead. But this game has all the potential to get absolutely crazy in favor of the Bengals very quickly. The Buccaneers are just not a very good team right now. They're not looking like they're heading in the right direction. They might be getting right. They might get right, but I still feel like the Bengals have a chance to win by 2 touchdowns in this game. That's where I feel. You should not take that as betting betting recommendations or anything of that nature. But if you do win a shit ton of money, I would appreciate 10%. I'll be happy to provide you with the donation link. So that's what I got. Yeah, I mean, that's where I feel like it's going to be. I feel like there's a chance for 2 touchdowns there. But coming back to it, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you watching. If you have watched all the way to the end, thank you so very much. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you get notified when I make community posts or I schedule live streams. It'll make sure you know. But yeah, I've got a lot of things going on. As you can tell, I'm pretty happy with this. Got my Guinness sign here. And got me a couple little Funko Pops. Travis, I don't know if you noticed the other Funko Pop up here, but you gave me that one too. The Eric, get my hand right here. The Eric Davis one up here. And yeah, so yeah, we'll I'll be back next week. Going down to Nashville this week for the weekend. Looking forward to it. Should be fun. Going with brother-in-law and my sister-in-law and her husband, and a couple that's friends of ours, and looking to have a good time. Of course, we'll be back in time for the Buccaneers game. Thank God it's at 4:25. That helps, especially with the time loss, the hour lost on the way back. But we should have fun, and hoping to have a good time, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy. And I hope we have, as Bengals fans, I hope we have an even better Sunday. Sunday afternoon, premium game in the afternoon. So, that'll about do it for now. So until next time, Who-Dey. Take care and have a great day.